Peach, you're so cool. And with my star, we're gonna rule. Peach, understand. I'm gonna love you till the very end.
Very end.
Peaches, 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 peaches. I love you. Oh, peaches, 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 peaches. I love you. Oh, Mario, Luigi, and a Donkey Kong too. 1,000 troops of Koopas couldn't keep me from you. Princess Peach, at the end of the line, I'll make you mine. Oh, peaches, 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 peaches. I love you. Oh, peaches, 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 peaches. I love you. Oh, peaches, peaches, peaches. Oh. All right, welcome back to the IMNerd podcast, guys. I'm your crazy ass host, Freeway, and I'm here with my also crazy ass supporter and co-host, Kenny. And we are back to talk about the Super Mario movie, which was literally, to me, a perfect movie. I think that this is like one of the best movies I've seen in a long time when it comes to feeding my nostalgia and making me feel good about just growing up as a kid off of Mario, playing it with my grandfather who literally mastered like every early Mario game before Mario 64. And it just brought me back. There were so many Easter eggs, so many like little references and things. So many cool lines. I think the voice acting was actually fine. Like the animation, it was done by the same people who do the Minions movie. There's a lot to talk about here, so I'll just ask Kenny, how did you feel about the Mario movie overall, and then we can talk about specific things.
Verse 2, peaches, 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 peaches. Not a movie. I saw it the night it came out. I had some drama when I got there.
Let's talk about
that. Did you get the Super Mario fucking popcorn collector's edition thing?
No, I didn't even know that existed.
I got there and I was going to try to get that. It was sold out, so I didn't get it. But that's not even where the drama was. The movie theater I went to only had one cash register. The rest of them were debit or credit, right?
Yep.
And I was with Jaden, and he wanted to get like a snack or whatever. And so I'm waiting in the line, and the line's not that long. And then like fucking 15 minutes passes, and the line hasn't moved.
Yep.
And there's just like this lady up at the front of the line arguing with the manager and shit, and it's going back and forth. And then I start paying attention to what's going on, and she basically like her AMC gift card wasn't working, and it was like she held the whole line up to save fucking $5 to use this goddamn gift card on a box of popcorn or whatever. Anyway, that annoyed the shit out of me, and yeah, going to the movies
apparently.
And the food's so expensive.
Apparently, that has been happening in that area that you live in because Silverman also lives in your exact area. So the movie theater we went to, because I saw this with Silverman and like Vinny, who else was there that you might know? Yeah, it's just Silverman and Vinny, and then there's a bunch of other people, but they're mostly Silverman's friends. But he made a point that we're not going to the typical movie theater near AU1. We went out of our way kinda to get to a different movie theater. And he said it's the reason because the last couple times they went, there was one person working, which is so funny. As soon as you said that, my like eyebrows went up. As soon as you said there was one person working, I was like, oh God, this sounds familiar. And then you said that it took fucking forever for the concession stand. And that's what his biggest point was. The last time he went, he said it literally took over 20 minutes to get just a popcorn, a hot dog, and nachos. And like, there was no excuse for it. The people were just moving super slow. Also, why do they not have popcorn already made? Like, what is happening? It was just a mess.
Absurd.
He said it was an absolute mess, and we're never going back there. So I was like, sure, I didn't have this experience, but I believe you because you're very adamant about it. And yeah, so
it was bad. It was very, very frustrating. But that aside, you asked me how I thought about the movie, and I went in and I watched it, and we sat there. It was me, Connie, and Jaden, and the movie starts, and I'm already in. I'm loving what I'm seeing. But let me just say, like, by the time it got to the end, I legitimately teared up a little bit, like a little choke up. And it's not that anything in the movie happened necessarily. There was no writing or anything to make you tear up. I don't even, there's nothing to even try. It was just the sheer nostalgia and the fact that I was sitting in my seat and I was watching a Super Mario movie and I was like, it's fucking good.
Yes,
Like not, it's not horrible. It's not bad. Like I
it's just straight up
legitimately had
good.
I had fun the entire time. And the way I've been describing the movie is the movie's just like the video game. And what I mean by that, not that it's exactly like playing the video game, it's that the movie is sheer fun, right? It doesn't have a great story. It's not, but I don't think it's bad either, but it's not like
It's meant.
made for
First of
any
all,
of that.
yes, it's first of all, it's a children's movie. Let's be clear. A lot of older people are going to go see this because again of nostalgia. But the movie is made for the same group of people who will go see Minions, and
Yeah, yeah.
that's blatantly you can the feel of the movie has that like, oh, kids will love this even if they have no idea who Mario is, they will just love this. And I think that's
Hmm.
great. And then it also appeals to us where we catch all these references that somebody like your little
Oh,
brother who's like 11 years old, he wouldn't know like a lot of the things because he didn't play
there's
Mario 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean?
so many references, but yeah, at the end, by the end of the movie, like the sheer fun of the entire movie, like I was engrossed, and it was one of the first times in a really long time where on the way home afterwards I was like, man, I want to watch that movie again.
Yep.
Like I haven't lately. Like when I watch movies, I don't really care to go see them again right away, right? Like I saw, what's it called in theaters, No Way Home,
Yeah.
amazing movie, but at least me, I wasn't like I have to go see the movie again right now, because that's just not usually what I do. But this movie, I was like, I want to see it again because I want to see it again. Like it was so fucking awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I will say with No Way Home, I did end up seeing it like 4 times, no cap. But
Yeah, you
that
did.
because that movie is like when it comes to nostalgia, that movie really got me, and I feel the same way about this Mario movie. But I will say, so so many things about this movie were great, and I really like the opening, but I really also wish that trailers just didn't do what they do these days. The trailer for this movie was literally the opening sequence. Like I'm
Yo,
I'm talking about all 3 minutes of the opening where Koopa, like Bowser and the Koopas invade and the penguins come out and throw snowballs. That's the actual opening. And they didn't drop a single part from the trailer. Everything that you see happens in the first 3 minutes. It's the exact same frames and everything. It's like, holy shit. I mean, at that point, like they didn't hold anything back for the opening. So that
n-
was kind of annoying to
not
me as
just
far as
that.
the trailer goes.
Not just that, there's more than one trailer, and I didn't watch any of the fucking trailers because leading up to it, like months and months leading up to it, I knew I was going to watch the movie, and I just had I was like, I'm not watching these trailers. It's like I just know they're going to just show too much. Other than the first trailer that we saw that we both discussed, however long ago that was, I didn't see any more trailers. And I watched the movie, and I fucking loved it. And then when I got home, like I was still jonesing for it, so I was like, I'm gonna go watch the trailers. And I watched all the trailers. I found like a video with all the trailers in one video.
Mhm.
And I was like, dude, the amount of fucking like they showed like all the Mario Kart shit. They showed
No, they
the
showed
one intro.
Rainbow Road.
They showed Rainbow Road.
Oh,
I'm pretty
that's
sure they showed
bad.
Rainbow Road. They showed the Mario commercial where they
Yeah.
used the old Super Mario Bros. Show
Yeah.
opening,
Yeah.
and they made they had a whole trailer like dedicated to that commercial, and I was like, what the? Because I
That's
didn't
the
know
second
going
scene,
into
by
the
the way.
movie.
That's the
I didn't.
actual second scene
Yeah,
of the movie.
going into the movie, I didn't know because I didn't see the trailer. I didn't know that was in the movie, and so I'm watching it, and the with the Mario Brothers and plumbing's a game like that starts happening, and you see Mario and Luigi like doing their shit. Oh, and they're like we're so, and they're like sitting on the thing, and they're pretending they're
Yeah, they
flying, and
got
they
the
got the
little
cape.
capes. Yeah.
Oh my
And that
god,
was the
I
only
was
time throughout the
losing it.
movie that Mario actually has his cape, like the infamous cape, which I thought was a cool way to incorporate that without giving it to him as an actual power up throughout the movie. So that was
Hmm.
cool. I will say this, but also before we get a little further into it, just to kind of preface this, because I know a lot of people kind of feel this way and are jaded just by, I don't know, the world, I guess, and how movies have been lately. But I went with a group of people that were literally negative Nancy's leading all the way up
Oh my
until the
god.
movie, and it really annoyed the fuck out of me. I have a lot of patience now because I'm older, and I did spend a good amount of time just kind of lightly defending the movie before we saw it because we went out to eat dinner first.
You and me defended a bunch. I mean, I wasn't with you, but
Yeah.
even before this event,
Yes, we did actually.
the
Yeah.
the amount of people, just because like I only saw the one trailer leading up to it, and I think that's the only one you saw too, right?
Yeah. Yep. I saw literally the opening sequence of the movie is the only trailer I've ever seen
Yeah,
for the Mario Bros. Movie. I didn't see a single thing else.
that's all you and me saw from it, other than and then just we heard things about it, and I don't know, my energy going into it was not bad. Like
No, mine was
I really
positive.
thought I was very positive about the movie, but just like you, a lot of people I know, a lot of my friends and stuff, have been very, very negative
Yeah,
about this
I
movie
went
and
with
just
like
saying it's
eight
going to be
people.
horrible.
I went with eight people, and they were all just like, "It's probably going to be a 3." Like constantly asking, "So what do you give the movie?" And I was like, "Well, I haven't seen it yet, but I think it's going to be good. I think it's going to be at least an 8." They were like, "An 8?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think it's going to be at least an 8." Did you see the trailer? Like the trailer was fucking hilarious when the penguins threw
Yeah.
the snowballs and everything. I thought that was amazing. And Koopa just like immediately starts breathing fire and laughing at them and everything. I thought everything about that opening. When I saw that first trailer, I was
Yep.
fucking sold. Okay,
Lem-
so hearing people just be negative about it the entire time before ever seeing it really like annoyed me. And I usually would just let people think what they want, but because I was just sitting there eating my burger and fries before we went, I was like, yeah, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I think you're all
Also, it gets
tripping.
grating. It gets really grating when like you're just like at the end of the day, right? You went to go see it with your like you're trying to have fun.
Yes,
Like I'm trying to
that's
go
the
see this
other
movie to
thing.
have
Like,
fun.
why are y'all
Like you guys are
complaining
all
before we
bitching. Can you
even?
relax?
It was unreal. Like you're complaining before we see a single thing. So I instantly was just like, I don't think the movie's going to be bad at all. Actually, I think the score is going to be really high. And what I liked about it is that at the end of it, every person that I went with, all 8 of them, was like, yeah, that movie was actually just good. Like not even just like it was okay. Everyone was like, it was actually a good movie. Like Silverman was
Yep.
sitting right beside me, and he looked at me at the end after the last post credit scene, and he was like, that was good. And I was like, yes, that's what I was trying to tell you guys. Like I
Yep.
knew it was going to be good. It just had the essence of a movie that was going to be good to me, and
Hmm.
I'm glad that it delivered on all cylinders and actually you know, surpass people's expectations of it who might have gone in thinking that it was going to be bad. I understand that there's a lot of bad movie adaptations for video games, but I think that those are usually live action. So that's the first thing. And you also have to look at who's involved. The guy who does Mario and Luigi and Wario and Waluigi's voice, right? Like he actually is doing voice acting in this movie, not for Mario and Luigi, but for their father and like other characters. So they have like real people from the franchise, real directors from the games. Like there's so much input from people who actually understand Mario. And you can tell watching this entire movie that whoever was directing and producing on an executive team of this movie played Mario, understands the Mario franchise, literally loves the Mario franchise, knows exactly
Mm.
how to make a joke out of something that you've seen in a game, knows exactly how to make good references, has played Smash Bros, has played the Donkey Kong games. Like everything about this just screamed, I know what it's like to be a gamer growing up in the 90s. That's what I got from
Yep.
this.
All the whole movie, man. And it's just it's crazy how not only that, not even without knowing who's involved specifically, knowing the names behind the scenes,
Mm.
just looking at it, right? I think there's a similar problem here where House of the Dragon's happening, right? And everybody goes like Game of Thrones sucks, the end of Game of Thrones sucks. Like I'm not like fuck House of the Dragon, I'm not gonna
Yes,
watch it. It's
before it
suck,
ever came
right?
out.
Before it came out, without taking into context the difference of the situation. When you look at this Mario movie, in my opinion, it is fair to say initially before you know anything, oh, that movie's going to suck. Like
Yeah.
if somebody said they're making a Super Mario movie, you go, oh my, that movie's going to suck, right? That's fair to say. But once you learn more, you have to adjust how your brain works. When I saw I thought the movie was going to suck. When I saw the first trailer and I saw the voice acting and all the effort put into the animation, the big thing is how good the movie looked.
Yes.
How good it looked, and then just like the sequence of just that trailer, I was like, oh wow. I was like, that was really
They
fucking
got the
entertaining.
top animators to do this movie. Like I said, the
Yeah.
same crew who does Minions, and again, I think the Minions are hilarious. Like just as a concept, those little fucking yellow dudes, they are fucking funny as hell. But the thing that I always notice about them is that the animation on it looks really, really good. So
Mhm.
as soon as I saw the Mario movie, I was like, well, that everything about the characters, Bowser, Peach, Toadstool, Mario, Luigi, they all look exactly like what they're supposed to look like. They don't look strange. They don't look like somebody tried to take some creative freedoms and said, "Oh,
Yep.
I'm gonna give Mario a little." Like, no, there was none of that. It was
No,
literally just true to the design of the original characters.
they look like they look on brand by. And what's important to know is like Shigeru Miyamoto, the guy who made Mario, he worked also very closely with it And what's important to know about him is that like he's very, and Nintendo in general, they're very strict about their IP being on brand. Like
Yeah.
that's something people got to realize is like, look, every time we give Nintendo hate and they ruin a Smash tournament and stuff like that, you have to remember, not that I agree with what they do with Smash tournaments, but the reason why they do it is because they have this weird view in their head of making sure that things look exactly the way Nintendo wants it to look.
Yeah.
So going to this movie and knowing Nintendo was working so closely with it, you know it's going to look as good as it ended up looking, and it did. And so anyway, the point that I'm getting to is that once I saw the trailer, you have to adjust what you think about things. Just like once you know that House of the Dragon is based on a book that's already done being written,
Yeah.
you have to go, oh, well, the problem with Game of Thrones was that they started making seasons when there were no more books.
Yeah, they started making shit.
House of the Dragons is going to be fine. And the Mario movie, it's like, oh, every other thing I saw looks horrible, but this trailer looked really good.
Yeah. And I get it too, because Mario movies in the past have been awful, right? Like the classic Mario movie, don't get me wrong, I love the movie as a guilty pleasure because it was a movie that I saw as a child. The live action one I'm talking about, but the Koopas in that movie with their really broad shoulders in the suits and they have the really small heads, the Goombas and all that. Like that movie. Also, Bowser just wasn't at all. It was like a human,
just like a guy,
a guy that had
really
a really bad chemical spill, and then he kind of turned into a thing. Yoshi looked really terrible, like a Velociraptor, but he was all like terrible CG and animatronics. It was really everything about it. It was just not good from a production standpoint, from a storyline standpoint. The characters they got to play, Mario and Luigi, were not convincing. Obviously, there were almost no references to the real source material outside of them like trying really, really hard to just force things in. So I understand if people was like, "Oh, I've seen a Mario movie before in my life. It was really, really bad, and this is probably just going to be really bad based on that." But then again, like Kenny said, once you saw the trailer and what was going on, I immediately changed my perception of it because I'm open to new information and I'm able to change my mind because I'm a human being. I don't just say, "Oh, I hate this and I'll always hate this no matter what happens," because some people are just weird like that. Like they choose something and no matter how much new information they receive, they won't change their mind about it. I think that just makes you kind of slow, if I'm being blunt about it. Like that it just removes your humanity, for the lack of a better word. Like you are a human, therefore you can think for yourself and you can like make up your mind and change your mind. An animal can only do exactly what their instincts tell them to do. Like they're going to, at every point, a cat is going to be a cat, a dog is going to be a dog. Whereas with us, like we can actually see new things and think about them from an abstract point of view, or even just a blatantly implicit point of view and say, I actually think this is going to be good based on these new facts. So that's how I felt about this movie, and I had no pessimism going into it. So I'm glad I'm glad to deliver. Anyways, so enough of that talk. Yeah, I really like the opening. Again, watching it, even though it was blatantly from the trailer, I thought that was really cool. And then he gets the star. Bowser gets the power star. And it kind of cuts to the commercial that Kenny mentioned earlier. And I thought that whole commercial was hilarious because there's one part where this girl who they're doing business with in the commercial, she's blatantly reading off of a script. And she's like, "Thank you, Mario Bros. The only thing you won't drain is my wallet." And then she looks confused after she says it. And then they cut to those two with their arms folded and they're doing this little head thing. They're like kind of, you see like Mario and Luigi doing this little head nod thing. And it looks so cute and adorable. Their little 3D heads just moving back and forth, like bobbing with their arms crossed. I loved everything about it. And then of course it being a reference to an actual Mario commercial from the 90s. I thought that was really brilliant too. So many things about this were cool. They get a job really early on and there's a ringtone for Luigi's broken phone, and it's the fucking GameCube turn-on sounds. Like, literally, when you turn on a GameCube, that's his ringtone. And so immediately I was like, oh shit, this isn't just going to be like Mario-based. This is blatantly going to be Nintendo-based too.
What's very important about that reference is the game, because you might ask, like, why the GameCube, right? And anybody might ask that. Luigi's first game where he was the star is
Luigi's
on
Mansion.
the GameCube, Luigi's Mansion. So the GameCube startup for Luigi's ringtone is. Oh, I also think it's probably the most iconic and long enough startup sound.
I think so too. Yeah.
I think they could have gone with many other things, but I don't know. I think that
it could have just been the sound of like a coin or something. You know what I mean? It could have been anything.
Yeah.
It could have been
so
anything.
I think that makes Makes a lot of sense. I thought that was really cool.
One thing Mario's not short on is iconic sounds in general, right? Like
Oh yeah,
that's one thing. And honestly, every single sound from Mario games I feel like was represented in this movie at some point. So that was dope.
music too. The music was so fucking good in so many spots. It's just like also two things, and I know we're not quite there yet, but just we're talking about the sound.
Yeah, we're going
First,
all over the place. We don't have to stick
all
to a
the
script.
Mario music. All the Mario music was very fucking good, and I got hype every time I heard it. But then, secondly, I don't know. At first I wasn't expecting this, and it caught me off guard. But all of the normal music in the game, in the movie, was good too. It was all '80s music, which I thought was cool.
Yes,
Because specifically, it was all '80s music, which is when Mario came out.
Yep.
Like, if there was randomly like a fucking Lil Nas X song, like
that would have been.
that'd be really fucking random. And I like Lil Nas X, but if his music was in this movie, it'd be really random. Like, I don't need to hear fucking Country Roads or whatever the fuck.
Yeah. I agree with that. Actually, I didn't even think about that, but all the music was 80s. I remember the part where the one smart Donkey Kong takes them to see like Cranky Kong, and when they get in the back of the car, it starts playing that song "Take on Me," like "Take on Me," and I actually love that song. By the way, that's just a feel good song. They chose 80s songs, and all of them are feel good songs, which I thought was also really cool because when you're watching it again, like you said, this is a feel good movie. Everything about this movie,
it's a hyper feel good.
When people were asking me like, "What are you expecting from it?" I said, "I just want to be entertained and I want to laugh." And I said, if it accomplishes that, I'm good. I went in not wanting some fucking Game of Thrones level story. I didn't need a Dark Knight level death. Like,
it was so weird to me, the expectations people had. Like, they were, because I was just like, what do you want to see from a Mario movie? Like, do you, because people are saying all this stuff. Like, well, no, I don't need all of that. And I'm like, well, what do you want? Because I don't understand what you want. Like, the movie's going to just be fucking fun. Yeah, and that's what it was.
I agree. It literally was fun. It was funny. And yeah, everything about it just screamed like the people knew what they were doing with this one. So
and it was cool. I liked all the references. I love the fucking Wrecking Crew guy.
I was about to say the Wrecking Crew guy was really funny because that's a reference to how Mario actually started. For people who don't know, that is actually Mario's first ever game, and eventually Mario becomes
as the name Mario, I think.
Yes, and what's cool is that Mario ends up becoming bigger than the Wrecking Crew initial game. As a whole, like the franchise of Mario, as you know, I mean, you probably even never heard of Wrecking Crew. Most people haven't. So Mario is bigger than the whole Wrecking Crew franchise now. And when he says you guys are quitting to start your own plumbing business, it's kind of funny because that's what happens essentially in real life to make the Mario games become so big, is that Mario becomes a solo dude and everyone loved him. Also, Mario was featured in like Donkey Kong and stuff. And
the original Donkey Kong game where you have and they have Jumpman in the movie. Like, there's a really old man. That old man playing the arcade, that's Jumpman, who's, the original Mario, so to speak.
Yep. The construction worker.
And he's got the reverse, like his overalls are red and his shirt's blue instead of the blue overalls and red shirt. Yeah. Anyway, that's Jumpman. He's like I thought it was really cool because he's like a really old man. And I think if I remember, that's who they asked when they were like, "Oh, the accent's too much," and he's like, "No, the accents are amazing." Like,
yeah, that's actually the original Mario doing that voice too.
Yeah.
So that's again, stuff like that, little touches like that are amazing. Even though they didn't choose the guy who does Mario's voice in all of the games and stuff to do his voice for the whole duration of the movie, they had Chris Pratt do it. But I thought Chris Pratt did a fine job, and
I thought he did a fine job.
And the fact that he kind of played on the idea that people would make a comment about the voice. So he even started off in the movie making the crazy Italian high-pitched voice, and then he switches to his regular voice. And I thought that was funny because it's like, we get it. Some people are going to be like, oh, why doesn't he sound like Mario from the games? And it's like, well, I know I don't sound like Mario from the games. I'm not trying to really either, but Mario is just a real person. Like in this movie, that's what they were kind of making you realize, is that he has a family, right? Like when he walked in and his family was serving dinner, and he sat down and it was mushrooms and pasta, which are very Italian, right? Like chicken marsala, stuff like that. But then you come to find out that Mario doesn't even like mushrooms. I thought that was hilarious because you know where it's going. But that's before he ever gets to the Mushroom Kingdom. But oh God, Mario doesn't like mushrooms. He's about to literally go to a place called the Mushroom Kingdom. So that was hilarious to me. He doesn't even eat his dinner. And then Luigi comes into his room and he's fucking playing like, what was the game with Pit?
He's playing Kid Icarus.
He's playing Kid Icarus. He has a Star Fox like X-Wing literally floating in his room. He has all these other Nintendo things like posters and stuff from Nintendo games. I just thought that they did so many Easter eggs.
Dude, They did his room so well, and on the big fat Italian dinner, man. When he went in and he had this big Italian family,
Yep.
and the one dude's like sitting on the chair, like hunched over the chair with his arm on it. He's like, "What the fuck are you guys doing, huh?" He's like, they're all just like around dinner, and they're all like talking smack and throwing jabs at each other, and like being mean, but also super loving.
That's how Italians are. You're Italian, right? So like,
Yeah.
this is literally how your family operates too.
I loved when I saw them all around the table, just like super Italian dinner. And there's definitely Italian dinners that are like that. And they're all living in the same house and shit.
I've been to multiple of them.
Uncles, and it's so fucking awesome. I love that. And then when he like asked his dad, and his dad was like, "Oh, I mean, honestly, I think you're wasting your time." Like, the dad was just super blunt. And then Mario gets depressed, and the dad's confused. He was like, "What? Like, I'm just what did I say? Like, what did I do? Like, I'm just giving him advice."
Yeah, no, that was good. I like when they get their first job. When they get their first job, they run to it, and then it changes to a side scroller.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was also a really cool touch. And when you said you kind of teared up at the end of the movie, I wanted to comment on that, but I almost lost my train of thought about it earlier, and now it came back to me. There was a part at the end of the movie also that did make me tear up. It wasn't when the movie was completely done. It was specifically, and this is jumping all the way to the end, but it was specifically when Luigi repeated the line that together nothing can stop us. And he's holding the reflector on Bowser's fire, and at the time Mario was about to be toast, literally. And when he says that, they kind of reach for each other and they grab the star. I love that part. And that part specifically, when he said, "You want to do this?" That was the second time that happened, where him and Donkey Kong had a scene where it's like, "Do you want to do this?" And he's like, "Absolutely." And then Luigi and him had the same exact thing where they get a power up together and they become invincible. And it honestly, that part right there made me fucking tear up. Like, something about seeing them together like that, where Luigi finally got courage and he actually saved his brother. He saved his older brother right there. Like, he saves Mario. Other than that, was just like, it's really cool.
It's the loving dynamic of the brother. It's the brothers being like fucking super brothers, man. And they're the Super Mario brothers, and them having each other's back through, and like just being there for each other. And the other thing is, the movie had I loved how brotherly they were, how much they actually cared for each other, and how like they weren't toxic or really mean to each other. Like there was no like subplot of like one of them getting jealous. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of movies or things would have tried to just have a little moment where the brothers like don't get along and butt heads, and then like they come through at the end. But they didn't do any of that, which I really appreciated. They just had the brothers be like brothers.
Yeah, Luigi was looking out for Mario throughout the whole movie. Like I said, when he came into his room, he brought him the plate of, pasta with the mushrooms on it. And Mario had picked them all out too, like slowly throughout the conversation they were having at the dinner table when he was being discouraged. He was like, literally, he used another plate to pick out the mushrooms, which is something that I actually do. I do not eat mushrooms. So I pick them out of things whenever they're in it. And I thought that was cool. But then he brings him the pasta later, and he's trying to console his brother and everything. And I think that that's what a brother is for. Like, I always wanted to have a younger brother. I have a younger sister, and we do the same type of thing. But there's a relationship between brothers that I've always kind of admired and yearned for, if I'm being completely honest here. And when I saw those two and their camaraderie, I was like, man, that's just awesome. When they do that,
and when you said he had his back through the whole movie, I love the part where he's kidnapped by Bowser.
Yes.
And Bowser's like pulling his mustache, and then he's like,
lying to Bowser too.
Yeah, first he's lying, but then eventually he admits that, like, he does have he knows who he is. And he explains who he is, then he goes, "Well, do princesses like him?" And he was like, "If they have good taste, they do."
Yeah, get him out of my sight. And he throws him down real hard and so puts him in a cage. I thought that was really cool, that he does start off lying blatantly to cover for his brother. That's what a brother would do, right? Like, you don't snitch on your brother. When you ask if you know this guy, he's like, "I don't know every guy who has a hat with his initials on it, who has a mustache just like me, wears overalls and everything." He's like, "I don't know every guy just like that." So he's blatantly just lying to Bowser, and then eventually he, after he pulls his mustache too hard.
Even that, the part where he's just like, would she be attracted? Whatever. When he was like, "If they have things they do," I lost. Oh man, I just love that line.
So it going to a 2D side-scrolling game, when they ran to their first job, again, that part for me, as soon as I saw that, I said, "Oh, this whole movie is about to be amazing." Like, I wasn't expecting that, because I'm sure that was probably in a trailer somewhere. I was not expecting the movie to at any point go side scroller like that, like the original Mario games,
and start straight platforming.
Yes,
that was so cool.
They started platforming, and not only that, there was a part at the end of it, like right before they got to the actual job, when they passed the wrecking crew and everything like that, and they're dodging all. Well, Mario's dodging all these obstacles. Luigi's just doing his own rants. But as Mario gets through to it, he slides down a pole. And
yeah, he slides down not a flagpole, but a flagpole.
yes, he slides down a flagpole like the original games, and I was like, oh, this is so well done already. Like everything about this is exactly what they should be doing, and they're finding unique ways to incorporate things from the games without making it too cheesy. Like without, and even if it is cheesy, it's like, well, it's fucking Mario, right? Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
But I just thought that
even then, I don't think it was cheesy. Like, I don't think anything was cheesy.
Agree 100%. That's what I'm saying. Like, I can see people be like, oh, that's like so on the nose, but that's what I want. Like, I'm going to see a fucking Mario movie. Whatever character in any franchise does the things that Mario does, make him Mario him all the way out. Make it 120% Mario. So yeah, really good stuff. Eventually they ended up getting caught into like a sewer where they get sucked into the pipes, and that's where they end up in the Mushroom Kingdom. Well, one of them ends up in the Mushroom Kingdom.
It was after Mario was depressed, and then all of a sudden there was this huge fucking water main break, and then Mario was like, "We're going to save Brooklyn," because like he wanted people, he wanted people to actually like recognize his dream and not think he was wasting his life. And so they, him and Luigi go down there, and they end up down in the sewers, and then they end up finding like this fucking pipe, like. And they're like, what the hell's all this down here? And there's like this ancient sewer under Brooklyn. Yeah. And then they end up finding, the pipe. And
it sucks them in. It sucks in Luigi. It sucks in Mario. And then they ended up getting split up. So Mario ends up in the Mushroom Kingdom, and Luigi ends up on like Koopa's Island and like Bowser Castle, basically. And I thought that was I wasn't expecting them to get split up so early, but I was like, okay, I guess this makes sense narratively for the movie, because you do play Super Mario Bros. And you're just Mario for a very long time. And it's not for a while until Luigi becomes actually a part of the video games and, a playable character and stuff like that. So Mario does go on his own solo adventure, literally, in the games originally. And yeah, so Mario lands in the Mushroom Kingdom, and for him, everything is pretty much fine. Another part from the trailer that they put in another part from the movie that is like, it was a trailer, was when he first wakes up in the Mushroom Kingdom. He's like, what is this place? And he goes to touch the blue mushroom, and Toadstool comes out and was like, and this is the crazy thing about the Toad. That fucker was on one the entire movie. He was on all bullshit. He's like, don't touch that mushroom or you'll die. Oh wait, never mind. That one's totally fine. I was like, what is wrong with my man?
Keegan was losing his mind, all right?
Yes, he was actually phenomenal. All his different voice sounds, too. Like, he had a lot of different inflections. He would go high, he would go low, he would go deep. I thought that he did a really good job as Toadstool, too.
A really good job,
and when you consider what he looks like, he doesn't... Like, I sometimes can see the character or see the actor when I'm looking at a character, but when I look at Toadstool, I don't see the actual actor, right? Like, that they don't look anything alike. Go ahead.
Going into it, I knew he was the voice actor, and I'm listening, and I was loving the Toad voice, but I was also going like, it's kind of hard to even like, if I didn't know it was Keegan-Michael Key, I think his name. If I didn't know it was him, I don't think I would have picked his voice out of the lineup.
Yeah, no, it's not easy at all.
I think he did a really good job. Like,
yes. So as soon as they get there, Toadstool and him, they kind of hit it off, and Mario's all very confused. But then he takes him to like the Mushroom Kingdom, and this is like reference heaven. Immediately you see a bunch of Toadstools using the coins as ATMs, like they're kind of hitting the blocks, and they're just grabbing coins and stuff. You see a Toadstool walking around one of those little red fish in a bag, using it as like a
Cheeps.
Yep, using the Cheep is basically like it's going to be his pet. And Mario's looking at it, and the Cheep looks angry as hell in the bag too. It's like it's grilling Mario down. He passes a point where a guy is buying antiques, and there is a super like a SNES game and like other NES games, and he says, "Does this thing still work?" He said, "Yeah, if you blow in it." And I thought that was amazing too. That was fucking amazing, because I grew up where you had to blow into your cartridges, either for Sega or for Nintendo. So when he said, "Yeah, it works if you blow in it," and it's kind of like a passing conversation that you could easily miss if you're not paying attention, but as he's walking around, there are just a ton of Mario references. And I was thinking, oh man, everyone who's with me, because we're all older, we all played Mario. So the 8 people I was with, every one of us knew exactly every reference that they were showing. Maybe not some of the newer ones like Mario Galaxy. I don't think a lot of us played games like that. But as far as the early Mario references, which the beginning of the movie starts off with all old school Mario references, we all caught every single one of those. A lot of my friends who were with me were asking like, what is that nihilistic star? What is that for? I was like, that's a fucking Luma. And that thing is like, I've never seen it because I've never played Mario Galaxy, but I know Luma from Smash Bros. I was dying, okay, the entire movie. Every time that thing spoke, it made me laugh out loud. We all honestly laughed out loud because of the things it was saying. It was like, oh, yes, we're all gonna die. This is mercy. Like, there is no light, just darkness. It was so scary. And I was actually
We're finally
surprised
going to be freed. Like,
as they were floating in the lava, like about to be cooked. That thing was hilarious.
and then when they get saved, she's like, "Oh man!"
Yeah.
Like,
oh, there's so many good things. But yeah, they're walking through, and eventually gets to a point where they get to the gates of the actual like Peach's palace, Peach's castle, and there's two toadstools there guarding the door, and they make a reference to your princess is in another castle, which I thought.
like, I'm here to see the princess. They go, "What? No,
what princess?
what
Your princess is in another castle." It's just like that whole reference point because that's like in the first.
They go like,
game.
oh, he's talking about that princess. Yeah. Oh, your princess is another. And then they like fist bump and shit. They're like, yeah, like
we did it. We fucking confused them. We sent them away. Oh, that was really good.
And then the main toad goes like, I got this, and he just starts like cooking and shit. And then the toads are like, oh, okay, hold up.
Apparently, that's something from a game too. I did not play. The Toad has his own game. His name is Captain Toad apparently, but he has his
Captain
own
Toad's Treasure Tracker.
He has his own game, and apparently he does cook at some point, and I guess that's like a part of it. So he had a frying pan too later on with Peach. She's basically going to fight against Bowser. She tells all the other toads to go away, and she grabs a fucking javelin and starts twirling that shit like she knows what she's doing. And then at the same time, she's doing her super cool walk towards Bowser as he's coming in with his huge island. The toad pulls out his frying pan and flips it the same way like she did with the javelin, and he's all ready for war. I loved Toad's courage. I thought that was amazing throughout the entire movie. Yes, because I guess it's a thing that they're normally a little cowardly like Luigi, and so he told her early on in the movie, I'm never going to leave you. I'm going to protect you. I'm always going to protect you. I'm never going to let anything happen to you. And he stayed true to that no matter what the situation was. And at one point she did save him. He said, that's what I call princessing. Like on Rainbow Road when he fell down, he's about to fall to his death, I guess. And she actually went out of her way to protect him. And he gave her a compliment. I thought that was dope. Okay, so eventually, right after the distraction, Mario does run into Princess Peach, and there's this like whole thing where she wants him to go through a training montage.
Yep.
And she does it first, and some people were surprised about this because they expected Peach to be like a damsel in distress. In this movie, they actually made her character blatantly just able to protect herself, able to fight on her own, and able to do a lot on her own, which I thought was fine. Like I don't have anything bad to say about that. I like that Peach wasn't relying on Mario.
I have only one complaint with the angle for Peach. I thought it was cool because Peach is playable in like multiple games.
Yeah.
She has her own power. She can do stuff. My only complaint, and I guess it's not even just Peach, was just that Mario never got the Fire Flower power up.
Everybody else did.
Peach got the Fire Flower, and then even Donkey Kong, which first of all I thought was hype as fuck because I don't think canonically
I've never seen that before.
Ever, he's never gotten that as far as
I was going to ask you actually when we got to that part, like, is that a real thing? No, I've never seen Donkey Kong with that,
dude. When he like smacked it and like or clapped it, and he got like he was like red with the. I got hyped because I was like, am I seeing something that I've never seen before?
I've never seen that.
Because I'm a gigantic Donkey Kong fan, and I've never seen Donkey Kong with a Fire Flower. So DK with the Fire Flower, I was really hyped with. And anyway, yeah, there was like a small little thing where I was like, man, I wish I got to see Mario with. He got other power-ups, but I didn't get to see Mario with the Fire Flower, which made me a little sad. But anyway, that aside, going back to Peach doing the course.
Yeah, so Peach kills it. She goes through the course one solid time, and she gets to the actual flagpole. She also, and this is really cool, this is a reference to Mario 2, which a lot of people didn't like or whatever, but I actually, for some reason as a kid, I loved Mario 2 where you get to play as like Mario, Luigi, Toadstool, or Peach.
Yeah, that game's great.
Luigi has his weird jump where he does like flutter kicks and he's very floaty, and then Peach can float literally. And so also from Smash Bros, I know Peach can do an actual float, like float cancels and all. She's actually one of the best characters in the entire game. In every game that she's in, I think she's actually pretty decent. But in Ultimate and in Melee, Peach is like really, really good. And I think, is she good in Smash 4? She's probably good in Smash. Yeah, she's definitely good in Smash 4.
Yeah, she's good in Smash 4.
So yeah, Peach is basically good in every game that she's in, and Brawl doesn't really have characters. So anyway, Peach goes through the course. She float cancels at the end, which I thought was a nice touch because that's just something from the games and stuff. Again, them paying very close attention to detail there. And she's like, all right, now your turn. And of course, Mario, being his first try doing this, he sucks at it. She gives him a power-up mushroom and he grows all like the clumps from Nutty Professor at first. It looks all cool the way he transforms because it's like his legs get big, his arms get big, then his stomach gets really big, and then his head is still small, and then eventually his whole body's proportionate. But he grows and he's all like, ugh, is there any other way? I really hate mushrooms. And he's dreading the idea of having to eat them, which again, I don't know if this is actually canonically a thing about Mario, but I never knew that he didn't like mushrooms, so they might have added this just for the sake of this movie.
Yeah, I think to my knowledge, I don't think that's ever been a thing. Maybe it has in some random thing, but I don't recall him not liking mushrooms and anything else.
Yeah.
And I do think it was a clever little way to like put it in the movie, just being like, actually he doesn't even like, and then
Yes,
like
she shoves
like
it in his
twist
mouth.
on it. Yeah.
Yeah, she literally shoves the mushroom in his mouth. He grows basically to her size because I kind of didn't realize, but Mario is small almost the whole movie. And then he gets the mushroom and it makes him bigger. And he becomes like kind of weirdly bigger than her. Like side by side, she still looks normal, but then he just looks like a big human. Like you could tell he's still short though. It's weird.
He becomes super.
He just becomes super. And then he obviously goes through the course. He fails initially, and when he falls down,
a whole bunch.
Yes.
Which this is the first time the movie's really showing you. And I guess it hints to it where like he wants to do his own thing. He wants to start his own thing, go his own way.
Yeah.
And when he has his own dream and he's following it. But then this is the first time the movie shows you that like he doesn't quit. Like he fucking goes at it. And
I do like that. It's basically the player. If you ever played a Mario game in your life, you know what it's like. You were Mario. You were literally the guy that when the rotating thing that smacks you off the platform and kills you, he's like runs and then runs backwards, runs and then runs backwards, runs, and then it smacks him in the face. That was at one point as a kid, that was all of us. Like every single person who's ever played a Mario game, you've gotten smacked by that before.
Just by the way, not just when you were a kid. Like I still play Mario games, and when you got to get back into the groove of it, the first time a fire bar is there, you're like, oh, hold on. All right, wait, how do I do this again?
The timing. It's all about the timings. And so he goes through it, but he gets hit, and she says, yeah, your power-up expires when you get hit. So she's even talking about shit that's from the game as though, like, they're not in a game. I thought that was cool, too, that she explains to him. And that happens, of course, throughout the movie a lot, where he gets hit or he falls really hard, and then it goes dump, 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 and the every sound effect is there. So he shrinks back down, and then she just does a fucking uppercut and gets him a new mushroom, and is like, all right, try again. And he gets everything that can happen happens. He falls on a platform. At one point, he stands on one of the platforms that if you stand on it too long, it turns red and then it drops you off. He gets eaten by a piranha plant. Everything that could go wrong goes wrong. But eventually, he does get very close to making it. And then they have this little heart-to-heart where they're sitting and watching the sunset because it's getting really late. And he says to her, like, were you able to do this on your first try? And she's like, no. Yes. She's like, I was a natural. But and they also give her some backstory.
Yeah.
They show that she came to the Mushroom Kingdom as a baby, and she came alone, so who knows where her parents are and stuff like that. But you see her literally come through one of the green tunnels, and a bunch of toadstools meet her, and they turned her into a princess. They literally worship her. And so she's just been Princess Peach ever since.
It was so cute. She was a little baby Peach, which just reminded me, also absurdly fucking cute. When they showed like little baby Luigi get bullied, and little baby Mario came out like a thug, like, get away from my brother. And they show, I love, like, baby Mario and baby Luigi look cute as fuck. But
that was
the fact that they were included in the movie too, and like we saw that, like, and then it's also not lost on me that Luigi was like kind of kidnapped by Shy Guys, because in Super Mario Bros. Advanced 3, Yoshi's Island, I think that's the one.
Oh my god, that title.
Yeah, it's a rant. But the Yoshi game where I forget the original word, which the
one
Yoshi game
of the Mario
with Baby Mario, and when Yoshi gets hit, Baby Mario's in the bubble, and he's like wah wah wah, and you got to get him. You're saving Luigi in that game, and Luigi gets like ferried away by Shy Guys, like to Bowser's castle.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's not lost on me that like that's also like a little reference, like Luigi being ferried to Bowser through use of Shy Guys specifically, not Goombas or something else, is also in itself a reference that I think is easy to miss.
Yes, and then right after all of that, and the transition from the training montage and they having a heart-to-heart, they do a little panorama of Bowser's castle and how chaotic it is. You see all of the Shy Guys, you see all of the Goombas, and all the different types of enemies that you play against in actual Mario games. They're all just kind of living their life. There's a bomb running around, and it eventually explodes. There's all types of shit happening, and then eventually it zooms in on actual Bowser, and they're all worshiping him, of course, because that's just the world he lives in. And he's like, shout out to the Coop Troops, and then he goes the Goombas, and then he looks at the little red shell dudes. He's like, and whatever those things are, and they go, oh, and they get all sad about it. And that's a Minions comedy point right there. That is taken straight from basically every Minions movie ever. The whole thing where like somebody gets called out and they get happy at first, and they realize they were disrespected. They go, oh. So when they do that, I felt a little sad for those guys.
How they do that to the Spinies like that? I know their names.
Yes, Bowser doesn't, so that's hilarious. Bowser was like, and whatever those guys are, he points at them and shit. But yeah, they're all talking about Bowser's great plan to take the star, and you find out that, and this is another thing that I don't think until recently, in the last couple of years, this was a reveal, but Bowser is in love with Peach and wants to marry her. Yeah. That's something relatively new. So I didn't know about that because I haven't played a recent Mario game. I only played the original Mario games, and seeing that, I was like, oh shit, this is kind of funny. I know some people might, not like it or whatever, but you're just misinformed because it is canon that he actually wants to marry Peach.
It's new old. Like, it's new in that, like, if you're a old school Mario player and you didn't play all throughout like your teenage years and stuff like that, you wouldn't really know about it. But it's old in that, like, it's not that new. Like, it's over a decade old, like, that information.
Exactly.
But it's still new enough where if you didn't, like, even people that stay gamers their whole life, they don't necessarily stay playing all the Mario games. Like,
correct, because I am still a gamer, right?
Yeah. But for the rest of my life, like, I still got almost every new Mario release just because, like, it's a game that always made me really happy to play. So
yeah. And then they flash back to the Peach and Mario, and they're in the Mushroom Kingdom, and they'll Peach and Mario.
Wait, hold on. Sorry to cut you off, but when he says it, when he's like, "Yeah, we're gonna go there, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and then Peach is gonna marry me," and everybody they're like, "Wait, hold up, what are we doing?"
Yeah.
Like that's the plan. Like the plan is that you're a simp? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, I think one of the Coop Troops literally says, like, this is not going to go over well. Like, he knows. But yeah, they go back to the Mushroom Kingdom, and you see Mario and Peach, and they're together. They're all friendly. And Peach goes to make an announcement to her, constituents. And when she goes out there, she's getting them all riled up. And then in the middle of it, one of them raised their hands like, wait, who's that guy? And she's like, he's not important. And they go, yeah! And they just start cheering again. They go fucking wild. They like jumping around, twisting and turning and shit like that. They're like, yeah, clapping it up and everything, high-fiving, chest bumping. I'm talking about going absolutely fucking nuts because she said that he's not important. I was like, yo, whatever Peach says goes in this kingdom. And I love that.
Not them just disrespecting the man Mario.
Yes. She's like, he's not important. And then they lose their shit. They're like, absolutely, he's not important. They just start going crazy. I don't know. Something about the Toadstools to me is so funny. But right after that, we get another amazing Toadstool scene where the main one, Captain Toad, so Mario and Peach are leaving. They're about to go on their adventure. And then he comes out of nowhere like, we're going on an adventure. We're going on a mission. We're going to do it. And she's like, I wanted you to actually go back to like, where you came from. Go back with the other Toads. So he's like, no, nothing scares me. She's like, a Toad that's not afraid of anything. Yeah. Well, you are coming with us then. Fuck it.
And he was like, yeah, I don't go anywhere without my best friend. And Mario was like, wait, what? He was like, yeah, we're best friends. And then he was like, I don't think that's true. Like,
yeah.
Mario was like, well, who?
Yeah, like, no, when did we become best friends? We just met literally.
He's like, we do everything together.
Yeah, just lying. Just straight up lying. I don't know the lifespan of a Toadstool because there are so many of them, but like the way he made it sound, because you know how some things live a very short amount of time. So to him, he could be like, I just met you and we are best friends because my lifespan is so short. That's something I was thinking about, but I don't think that that's actually how it works. But it's just kind of funny that to a fly whose lifespan is like 3 weeks, if it meets you, it could technically be your best friend in a day. And that's like a real thing. But yeah, they go on like another little montage where Toad's all happy that they're going on a mission. He's losing his mind. I think he's like my favorite character. And then after they kind of do another montage of them going through deserts, they go through like pyramids and all types of stuff, which are actual stages that you go through throughout Mario games. They get to like the top and Peach is like, I'm never going to let Bowser destroy this. Like I'm never going to let him destroy my world. She also makes a reference to like, there are many worlds and galaxies out there, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. There was a lot of stuff in this movie, and then especially like the end credit scene where I feel like they were setting up like to do more, do sequels and stuff.
Well, this movie is going to be
Like,
successful as hell, so for sure.
Going to be successful.
Yeah.
Last night, and it's better. It's probably even more now. Last night, I just right as I started streaming, I saw a little headline news article thing that the Super Mario Bros. Movie is now the best selling or best animated movie of all time in terms of
Opening weekend or something?
Opening weekend or whatever it was. Just like people going to the movies. It surpassed Frozen 2, which as far as I know was the highest grossing animated movie of all time in the movies.
I did not know that. This is wild.
Yeah, Frozen 2 was number
Disney.
1, and this Super Mario movie has last night surpassed Frozen 2. And
wow, I am shocked.
This movie actually isn't even out yet in Japan. It's not out in South Korea. It's not out in Poland and various other places. It's not even out yet in
I took
worldwide.
the walk to Poland. Anyway, I had to do that. That's a Little Yachty song. So as soon as you said Poland, I was obliged to do that.
Damn. But yeah, it's so you said it's going to do well. It is doing well.
I'm glad. I like I said, I started off by saying that this is basically a perfect movie to me. Like obviously it has some flaws or whatever, but like I literally don't give a fuck. Y'all can debate your mirror, you can debate your grandmom. I literally don't care about any of the flaws that people have pointed out.
I'm so happy you love it as much as I do, because I was all the way the fuck in.
Bro, I was defending it before it came out, and that could be looked at as the opposite stance of somebody who's bashing it before it comes out. I get it. Like defending something before it comes out is just you being a fanboy sometimes. But I thought that I saw enough to feel like this is just going to be good.
There's context though, right? Because the point of a trailer is to, for you to make it. And we saw the trailer and we were like, oh no, I saw enough where I think it's going to be good.
Same.
We said on the podcast multiple times, like, if it's bad, I'll let you know.
Yes, we did say that. We always say that.
Yeah, if it's bad, I will let you the fuck know. But I think, based on what I saw, I think it's actually going to be good.
And I'm never so much of a fanboy of anything ever that I will defend it if it's genuinely bad. Like if something is straight up bad, I am not about to be like, yeah, that was the best thing ever. Like I don't go out of my way to defend Thriller Bark in One Piece. Like I'm not doing that. Like it's an arc, right? Like it's an arc. I'm not going to be like it's the best arc ever. I can name 10 that are better, but like, it's an arc.
That's what's fucked up though. I can also name 10 that are better, but I will defend the arc. I will go ham.
Yeah, like if some, but I guess my point is like if somebody doesn't like something, right? I just don't make it my job typically to go out of my way. I felt compelled to do so for this because it was being unjustly done. Like Thriller Bark is fully completed. The arc is what it is. Yeah. Some people like it, some people don't like Skypiea apparently, and you know how I feel about that. That's one of my favorites. For me, it's top 5 for me.
Skypiea and Thriller Bark are the least popular major arcs of One Piece, which is so absurd to me. But
Skypiea is literally in my top 5. And not to get like too sidetracked here, but I just felt compelled to defend this one because I felt like it was a little unfair to just be like, this is going to be bad based off of really nothing. Like.
Yeah, it was just because it was a video game movie. People thought it was. What's crazy though is in the same year, 2023 so far. Every year people go like, "Oh man, this year sucked," but like new year, new me. Next year is gonna be
right.
2023 so far for me is a fucking stellar year. We've got The Last of Us TV show, which even though I'm personally
video game adaptation ever,
I'm personally not invested in The Last of Us. Well, I am now, but I wasn't invested in The Last of Us
at all.
But as a video game nerd, I will wear the badge of like, holy shit, this is by far the best video game adaptation into a TV show. Like, that's insane. And now we have the like another absolutely amazing video game adaptation into a movie, both in the same year. And then I'm getting Tears of the Kingdom this year. That shit's fire too. And then I think there's others, but so far like this year feels really good. And we got 2 amazing video game adaptations that prior to this year. The reason why everybody thought they were going to be bad is because traditionally they were always horrible.
Yeah, and this just wasn't. So thank God for that. But yeah, let's continue on. So after that is you already heard my singing montage. In the beginning, they transition right to that scene after they decide they're going to go recruit Kong's army. That's like what Mario and Peach and Toadstool are going to go do. They're going to go get Donkey Kong's army, Cranky Kong's army, or whatever, to help them fight against Bowser. And while they're doing that, Bowser is literally singing his heart out, this Peaches song that I did not see coming at all. And I laughed out loud in the movie theater.
Bro.
I laughed out loud, okay? I was like hysterically laughing as he was singing it.
Listen here. I loved the movie. I loved all the characters, okay? But I have to make something really clear. Bowser was the star of the fucking show. Jack fucking Black was the absolute star. He was the fucking superstar. Everything Jack Black did in this goddamn movie as Bowser was incredible. And when
Yeah.
he was singing, when he was doing like, and me and Fraser, we're not singers, so we can't do it. But when he was doing like the wah, wah,
Oh yeah,
dude,
bro.
like when he was,
He's
and
a
he
real
was
band
like
too in real
hitting
life.
notes. Yeah, he is like when he was just doing it, and it felt so. And also, I was happy that the movie wasn't a musical, but I was all in on like how cool is it that the only musical part of the movie was the villain. There
Yes.
wasn't like a Mario musical part. You know what I mean? Like,
I agree. I
usually,
like that it was Bowser.
yeah, and he absolutely fucking murdered it.
Yeah, he smashed
That
it.
Peaches song is insane. I like that song as a song. Like,
Me too, bro. I have it. You know it's available on Apple Music and Spotify and everything. I have it downloaded on
well,
my Apple Music and
adding it.
everything.
I've been listening to it on like YouTube and shit, but I will add that to YouTube Music or Spotify or wherever the fuck I can find it.
And it's only
like-
a minute and like 30 seconds, but when I tell you it is one of the best minute and 30 seconds you'll ever listen
It's
to.
so good. Like, it's actually good. Like, it's sung well. The lyrics are good.
Yes.
It's entertaining. Like, it is a good fucking
It's very
song.
catchy.
It's so catchy.
And also, when you were talking about Jack Black's actual vocal ability, I agree with you. The part, and I can't really do this as well as he can, or really at all, because I'm not a singer, but the part where he starts off, he says Peach, and he goes, "You're so cool." He's singing it though, like he's doing that, but it's the inflection. It's kind of the obsession. You're so cool. It's like that. It's like a boy yearning for a girl that he likes in his class. It has that exact same. The way he says it is like when you're watching Hey Arnold and Helga has the shrine of Arnold. It sounds exactly like that.
Yes.
Like, you're so cool. He drops his voice and he's like, "And with my star, we're gonna rule."
He's killing it.
Yo,
He fucking kills it.
He literally kills that shit. And then the Peaches repeated part, I was crying. Okay, I was sitting there in my chair.
Dude.
I was like, "Yo, this is unhinged."
I was so fucking. I was just like, oh, I was into it. And then when at the end of the movie we get like the second verse,
Yes,
I was not ready for them to go back. Like when they hit me with the second verse, I was like, y'all gotta stop. You're killing me right now.
So
This shit is amazing.
the first time he does it, he gets interrupted by the Magic Koopa. And his general, right? His right-hand man, his second in command, he gets interrupted by him. And he gets really annoyed by it, of course, because, you know, villains love their montages. They love their spiels. And when he gets interrupted, he's like, "Have a seat." And when he sits down at the piano, he goes, "Dun dun dun dun." And then he's the little Magic Koopa start playing with him. And it's literally the song from the Mario games when you're like in, you know, his castle. That little touch right there. And as he's talking, you just keep hearing dun 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 dun, and he's pressing the keys. Brilliant. Fucking brilliant. Whoever came up with the idea to do that part, that part specifically for me, I was like, I love this. This is like 40 minutes in. I was like, I love this movie.
Same. The movie was pure fun. That part, right? I was like, just Bowser playing. I was like, damn, Bowser's the composer for Mario.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Him going in, man, and the singing. That was just
Yes.
And Magic Koopa being the right hand man is like awesome too, because he is like he's an absurd Koopa. Like he's got magic. Like,
He's powerful as hell.
Yeah, and he's powerful in the games and shit. So he's a problem. And they had some really great. I love when he's like, "Oh, sir, you're so handsome. Like she's
Look
of
in the
course
mirror.
gonna love you." Yeah. Like,
He's like, "Look in the mirror, sir. There's no comparison." he's the ultimate yes man, which is typically what right hand men are. So I love that they made him a yes man to Bowser. It's kind of funny, but Bowser's also completely aware that like you're just a yes man, because at one point after that whole thing, Bowser slams the piano on his fingers, and he's you know, the Magic Koopa screams out, and then Bowser walks away and he says, "Can I lift it now?" He says, "No. Pain is the best way to grow." And he just like walks away. So it's like, yeah, you're my yes man, but I gotta make you still fear me and respect me in a certain way. You interrupted my song because he had a second verse to go through. So he's like, you interrupted my song, so you know, I have to punish you.
Bowser's absurd, right? At the start of the movie, not start, but when he's getting his boys hype and he's like, "We have the superstar. Like I'm going to, because of this, I'm going to be the strongest Koopa." It's like, hold on, bro. like you're by far the strong. Like
Yeah, it's
it's
not even
not
close.
like who's already not as strong. Like
I love
what are
the
you
fact
talking
that
about?
throughout the entire movie, he has the superstar. And he never even thinks to try to use it for himself. Like he never at any point says, "I need this to beat Mario, Luigi, Peach, or anybody." He solos everybody in base. He's kind of
Yep.
like Thanos, because Thanos, despite the fact that he could have all of the Infinity Stones, in Endgame, when he shows up and realizes like, oh, the other Thanos, he succeeded, but then they went back in time and all that stuff. He solos them without he fights against Captain America, Thor, and somebody else at the same time, and he beats all. Oh, Iron Man. They actually jump him, and he doesn't have a single Infinity Stone, and he just beats them. Like he fucking beats them in base. It reminded me a lot of what Bowser did in this movie, so I thought that was a nice touch. But okay, so they arrive at the world of Donkey Kong, and
Kong Kingdom.
they arrive there, and what was it, Cranky Kong, right? Is that who it is?
Yeah, Cranky Kong was the king.
Cranky Kong is the king, and in this iteration, Donkey Kong is his son, not his grandson or whatever. But yeah, Cranky Kong has a son, which is Donkey Kong. He's like, if you want my army, you have to beat my son. And Mario's like, all right, I'll do it. And Peach is like, that's a fucking bad idea. And he's like, well, what else? What other idea do you have? Like, how else are we going to get this army? So Mario, I like that he's, unlike Luigi, he's very courageous, despite the fact that he always feels a little queasy about certain situations and he doesn't want to do certain things. He still does it, which I like, because that's very human. That's like a real thing where you might be bold and really courageous in a moment, but deep down you're like, fuck, man, what did I get myself into? That's how he feels.
Yeah. Yep. And he goes out there and fucking I love the crowd real quick before, like the crowd had some like Donkey Kong characters that haven't been seen in a long time. They had Chunky Kong, which Chunky Kong is from DK64, and he has not been seen. He's been MIA for fucking years.
Again, the producers know.
So yeah,
if you played
Chunky,
the games,
Diddy, Dixie, like they had the homies in the crowd cheering for DK, and
Diddy even had a line. Like they had to literally call Diddy out to be quiet because Diddy was going crazy.
He was going at, because Diddy's the main DK homie. Like he is Donkey Kong's ride or fucking die.
Yeah, I love obviously Donkey Kong is going to have his classic run, but when he runs out, literally he's running just like he does in Smash Bros, just like he does in the video games. And he comes out, he has his two barrels, he smashes them together, and he starts showboating. And then Cranky Kong's like, stop doing that. And he's like doing a little wiggle with his waist.
Dude, and they played from DK6, the DK rap, like here we go, and DK's out there like fucking in it.
Donkey Kong,
dude, he was hip thrusting, man. I was like, this is a little too much for the.
Then he starts doing a little chest thing. He's like literally moving, gyrating his little chest and everything. It was so good. But yeah, after they get told to quiet down, apparently Mario and Donkey Kong are going to have a match. Here's another thing I liked: the actual arena that they're in is referential to the original like Donkey Kong and Mario first interaction ever, with the big like construction points and stuff, and like the barrels. Everything about it was really dope because it's a callback to the original Mario and Donkey Kong, the first time they ever fought each other.
Yep.
So that was really cool to me. But Mario runs up and he goes for like a Kobe, which is, if you don't know his fair from Smash Bros, he goes like for the big fist. And the second he does, mid-air, Donkey Kong just grabs him, slams him down, starts beating his ass. And he's like, I guess you won't be getting my army. And then he does a move that I don't recall Donkey Kong actually doing ever. But correct me if this was something in another game or something that I don't know about. But he does a drop kick on Mario. Like he picks him up, and like as Mario's falling, he drop kicks him. And I was like, what the fuck? That needs to be in the next Smash game, by the way.
He drop kicked the shit out of him.
Yeah.
I thought when he picked him up, I thought he was going to start doing the Giant's punch.
Me
I
too.
thought he was going to start corking his arm.
Speaking of which, he doesn't do the Giant's punch, but there's a point where he grabs Mario and he fucking uppercuts him like Sure You Can style. And I was like, what when did that happen? When did he start doing that? Again, something else I've never seen him do before. And then Mario's like, all right, I can't beat this guy straight up. Let me get a power up. So he goes for a mushroom. He eats the mushroom without looking at it. And he runs up, and then the mushroom takes effect, and it's one of the ones that shrinks you. It's a blue mushroom. And then, Cranky Kong is like, look, well, guess he ate the wrong mushroom. And he's just running away. And eventually it gets to a point where like Donkey Kong punches him really fucking hard, or plucks him actually. He plucks him really hard. He turns back to regular size. And this is when Peach is like, listen, you need to get a real power up here. And he ends up getting... Now, this is something that I have never played with as far as the Mario games, but he ends up getting a cat suit.
Yep.
And this suit seems really overpowered. He gets like ridiculous cat-like reflexes.
Also,
claws.
I laughed so fucking hard when he lands with the cat suit and he goes like meow, right?
Yeah,
Because we were just talking about this the other night. In the game where they introduced the cat suit, like it's like Super Mario 3D World, I think, or whatever.
right.
And then it goes meow, and like to hear Mario, I remember being like, why does he say that? Like, I don't need to hear Mario do some fucking meow. And so when he did it in the movie, I thought it was really fucking funny.
Yeah, that was great. He just solos Donkey Kong after that though. Like Donkey Kong can no longer even touch him. He scratches his face, which I thought was like a little brutal because at that point you're drawing blood. Obviously there was no blood in the movie, but he scratches the shit out of Donkey Kong's face. And then he gets on his back, slashes his back up a little bit, and everything that Donkey Kong tries, it just doesn't work. But this whole scene where Mario's like flipping off of shit with his cat abilities was really cool to me, despite the fact that I've never actually seen. Well, I've seen it before, but I've never actually played with this.
Played it. Yeah.
I've never played with this version of Mario, and he's so adorable too. Like the way he's just sitting on the beam, the steel beam, the way he's sitting on it with his butt to the ground like a cat, and his tail just like wagging. It's like so adorable looking. I have a siren coming through.
Yeah, you got Brooklyn happening over there.
Where Brooklyn at?
She was awesome, man. Mario Luigi.
Donkey Kong 2. 1,000 Koopa Troopers couldn't keep me from
you.
Princess Peach to the end of the line. I'll make you mine. He kills that shit. All right. Yeah, so eventually he beats Donkey Kong, and it's actually really cool. The way he beats him, he fucking Rock Lee style hits this man primary Lotus like into all of the steel beams. When Donkey Kong gets up, he's all dizzy. He starts swinging at the air, and at that point, he's about to literally die because he's gonna fall off it into the abyss. And Mario saves him, of course, by his tie. And that's actually going to happen more than once throughout this movie, which is funny because Donkey Kong later on, he gets saved by Mario when they're drowning, and he says, "You saved me, don't tell anybody." But I guess he just completely forgot that earlier in the movie, Mario blatantly saved his life that time too. Yeah. So they get the army though. That's they're going to get the army. So now they have the Kongs on their side. They don't really have the mushroom, the Toasters, because they're like cowardly, I guess. But they do have the Kongs, which is considered the strongest army in the world, or at least that's what they tout themselves as.
Listen, the Koopa Troopers are not like they don't want it with a fucking legion of Kongs, all right?
Yeah,
like,
that's actually just true, right? Like the turtles against fucking gorillas. He's like, why is that gorilla wearing a sports coat? Like they got smart gorillas and shit. Why is that gorilla wearing a sports coat?
Yo,
so it's like,
and
you feel a little underdressed?
Before they get to the like Cranky Kong, like they Mario Kart. I thought that was going to be the Mario Kart reference for the movie. Like,
too. I thought that was
I wasn't. Like, so when they Mario Karted there, I was like, this is so fucking cool, man. I was not ready for them to go in and make a Mario Kart like you do in the games and like select your style of the vehicle and everything, and then fucking Rainbow Road it the fuck out.
Yeah,
I was not
this part
ready
caught
for
me
that.
off guard. I thought this was really dope because you get to choose like how your cart flies, how it floats and everything like that. So they do a whole Mario Kart scene. You see Bowser, he has his like bouquet of piranha plants, and he has his like tuxedo and the top hat on, the white top hat, which apparently he has in the actual video games when he wants to marry Peach. And he's doing a fake proposal session with Magic Koopa, who's dressed up as Peach.
Yeah, actually, hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. 1 second. I was about to say Cheyenne because I was just talking to Cheyenne yesterday. 1 second, Fraser. I got something for you.
Okay.
All right. So you won't be able to see this, if you're listening, of course, but
Patreon.
I'm showing Fraser right now. These are the amiibo for the most recent big blockbuster 3D Super Mario game, Super Mario Odyssey, that came out on the Switch. Just for anybody who doesn't think that Bowser wanting to marry Peach is canon, these are the official amiibo that they released for the game. And I'm showing Fraser right now. This is the Bowser amiibo.
Straight from the movie, too.
Here he is wearing the tux, and he has the hat on.
Yep.
Here's Peach in the wedding dress. Here's Bowser and Peach. And then here's Mario right here. He's coming and trying to stop the madness. But yeah, so it's been official for a long time, even before Mario Odyssey, but Bowser's trying to get that Peach's Peach.
He's definitely trying to get Peach's Peach for sure. I like that. So we thought that the one scene where they go to the Kong Kingdom was going to be the Mario Kart for the whole movie. And apparently, like you said, we end up getting an entire sequence, an entire scene and plot point where they do Mario Kart racing, and everyone has their own unique vehicle. At one point the road ends, and this part for me was hype as shit. When the road ends and they're like, what are we gonna do? And they're like basically falling to their death, and Rainbow Road just shows up.
Yeah.
That for me was so hype, because again, I did not see the trailer and I did not expect there to be multiple Mario Kart scenes. So when that happened, it caught me off guard.
Rainbow Road shows up, and then like that's the thing. They're not just Mario Karting, right? Because my dad, everybody knows Mario Kart as a game, right?
Yeah.
But they don't know about Mario. They were drifting. They were doing the drifting, and then the sparks, like it would be like the sparks would go, and then he did a big drift, and they emphasized the spark went to the purple spark, and he fucking got a big boost. Like they were legit getting like
attention to detail,
actual Mario Kart mechanics that if you just play Mario Kart, you do not like. Most of the people, the vast majority of the people that play Mario Kart don't even know what drifting is. Like they don't know that's a mechanic that you can get more speed. Like they just don't know how to do it or what it is.
And
so
not only that, over attention to detail, the items. So earlier when the Smart Kong is taking him to see like Cranky Kong, he throws a banana back after he eats it. And some guy who's in traffic, some poor unsuspecting fool, he just gets tripped up by the banana while he's in his car. And it kind of, you see what happens with the banana peel, which is something that happens in Mario. It's probably one of the most classic Mario Kart things ever, the banana peel, right? It's kind of where I got the idea as a kid that banana peels are slippery. And then I tested it in real life. And I don't know if you know this, but banana peels, like not you, Kenny, but like people in general listening, banana peels are actually fucking slippery. If you put them on the flat side where you peel it, you put it down, and the actual peel, the outside of the peel is facing upwards like it is in Mario Kart games. If you step on it and try to slide, it will literally slide you. You will trip, basically.
I remember one time, I've only been to Disney World once. I went with Cheyenne, and I remember, I don't know why this came up, but we were joking around, and he put a banana peel on the ground, and like in his head, he was like basically like joking, like, oh, it's so stupid because but like they're not actually slippery. And he went to go like step on it, and he was like, oh shit, and like his fucking leg went out from under him.
They're genuinely slippery. And I tested it out as a kid. I was like, oh shit, this is a real thing. I slipped really bad too, to the point where I had to grab a railing. So they are really slippery. But anyways, so on the second Mario Kart scene where they're doing Rainbow Road, there are green shells. There's like all types of other attacks and stuff that they're doing. And the main thing that ends up happening is a blue shell gets fired. And everyone knows that the blue shell is like,
this was not fair, by the way.
It's not. The blue shells aren't.
The blue Koopa, the blue Para Koopa Troopa, he was not happy. He was like the main one trying to stop shit. He had like all this shit going on.
Yeah, he had a crazy tanker cart.
When they finally stopped him and they put an end to him, he was like, that's it, blue shell activate. And he like jumps up and he fucking goes in and he's like, and he fucking, I was like, what is this bullshit?
Yeah, the blue shell, when it explodes, I was like, I don't recall it doing all that. Like it destroys a huge chunk of Rainbow Road. It makes this like Spirit Bomb-esque explosion happen. It's really epic. They make the blue shell blatantly, you can tell it's like the most powerful item you can get, probably outside of like a star or whatever. But he just like, he shoots the blue shell, and he like you said, he was really angry when they destroyed his vehicle, got destroyed, and he grows his wings out, starts running forward on Rainbow Road. He's like, all right, fuck you guys. But yeah, that whole thing, everything about like from them falling to their death into the water and everything, it was just really, really well done. Rainbow Road being destroyed looks really cool. The animation, again, how colorful it is. For kids, I imagine this is like crack cocaine. Like this
movie is
it's a funny line, but
yeah, right. For kids, this is crack. But crack for the kids.
Crack for the kids.
No, the animation is absolutely top. Like how good. Like we didn't really mention it too much with the DK fight scene, but it is 100% there. But and then I think even more so at the end of the movie, the actual like the fights in this movie look so fucking clean. Like the way it's animated is clean as fuck, man. It looks so good, and just all the action and just the expressiveness of the characters in every fucking scene is incredible. It is done so well.
Yeah, I agree. I think they do a really good job with the fight choreography, which the main fight is at the end with Bowser and Mario. And like you said, that choreography, everything about it, I was like, oh, this looks really good. Like
they were going ham.
Yeah, really good. But yeah, Donkey Kong gets saved again by Mario, yanking him by his tie. Thank God he has one, because Mario, I don't know how else he would have been able to get him. But Peach and Toad still kind of escape back to, their castle. And Toad is just courageous again. He's like, even though she tries to get him to stay back again, he's like, I told you, I'm going to always serve you and protect you. I'm never going to let anything happen to you. So she doesn't fight him on this either, which I like. She's willing to accept the help. It's like, I get it. Women aren't powerless, right? Like, we get it. But also, be willing to accept help when it's given, right? Like, don't be so like, oh, I'm so feminist that I don't need a man or I don't need a male figure for anything. Like, no, he's willing to help and protect you, which is fine. And she accepts it. So I thought that was really cool that she didn't try to go back and forth like, no, I can't bring you into danger. She's like, no, you want to fight. You want to basically die with me. She comes out there with that fucking javelin and she's walking as the castle's floating towards her castle. And she's walking with this frown on her face. She stakes the damn javelin to the ground. I'm like, when did Peach get so bossed up?
Peach was wilding, dude.
Yeah, Peach was bossed
ready for
up.
absolute war.
And then she gets surrounded by the little
coming in.
She gets surrounded by the Koopas. They literally do a little march. I love the little Koopa march. They just like do a little march around her. And what I love about that is that she doesn't take them seriously at all. The little ones, because I feel like she could solo all of them if we're being honest. After seeing how well she can fight. So
yeah.
When they surround her, she doesn't like start taking her javelin and looking around left and right and backwards and trying to like defend herself. She keeps her eyes forward, waiting for Bowser. And when he comes out, this is when he finally reveals his big plot to marry her, which she, obviously rejects him. But he makes this really corny line about how something that I came out of my shell for you. And
oh my God, because before he's with Magic Koopa and he's like practicing, everybody's done this, right?
Yes.
Before you go to talk to girl or guy that you like, and like before you do it, you're like in your head, like, all right,
this is what I'm gonna say.
Like,
yeah,
like what am I gonna say? And then he goes and he's like, oh, and then he's practicing with Magic Koopa. He's like, oh, you're doing great, sire. You're doing great.
Yeah.
And
he's
dressed like
Princess
Peach. And then he was like, no, you're doing incredible. And he sounded like fucking. He sounded like the little like Frankenstein guy or whatever. Like his voice was anyway. But yeah, he says it to Peach, and then he tells Peach he wants them. And Peach because Peach thinks Bowser's coming here for absolute war, which he kind of is. But he's war's his backup plan. Like he's going there, and she's like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Marry me." What are you talking about?
Yes. And then he also mentions that he's going to sacrifice everybody in the cages for her during their wedding ceremony. And then, of course, that fucking Luma is super happy about it. Like, yes, sweet mercy. Like, as they're about to be lowered into the lava, the Luma's all happy about it. This nihilistic ass Luma. That part, again, I think the Luma was probably the funniest thing in the whole movie because I just wasn't ready for, in a kid's movie, to see a character talk about death. Like, literally was like,
he blatantly said it. Like, he's like, we're going to die.
Yes.
It's awesome.
Yeah, just like multiple times. And when he says it, because at first they were like, oh, you're all going to be at the wedding. And the penguins are like, oh, cool. And the penguins are all happy and shit. They're like jamming it up in their cage. And then it's like, you're going to be sacrificed ritualistically. And then the Magic Koopa disappears. And then the fucking penguins like, let us out. They start freaking out. But yeah. So this is basically the end of the movie here. But like, after they survive, Donkey Kong and Mario, they're trying to figure out what they're going to do.
I want to mention the reference, but I just appreciate it seeing King Boo and King Babam at the wedding. Like when I saw King Babam walking up, like his big fat ass.
I thought that was amazing. He's the first boss in Mario 64.
And and he sits down and King Boo floats up. By the way, I love the movie, but I need the YouTubers to relax. I need the clickbaiters to relax. Seconds after seeing the movie, the first thumbnail I saw was a thumbnail that had King Boo in it, and he was circled with a red circle, and the name of the video was Luigi's Mansion Movie Confirmed.
Oh my God.
Y'all need to nothing about that confirmed a Luigi's Mansion movie. Like y'all need to absolutely relax.
Yeah, people are crazy.
Just a reference. I hope we get a Luigi's Mansion movie, but let's relax.
Cool. Another thing that was cool though was you mentioned King Bomb, and when he sat down, there was a green shell next to him, and it started going back and forth between him and the bench. And that's a reference to actual Mario games. Something that I don't know why I used to do this. Well, actually, I do know. There was a 99 Lives. I won't call it a glitch because it was blatantly in the game, but there was a way to get 99 lives that my grandpop showed me as a kid, where you take a green shell and you put it between these two blocks and it goes back and forth really fast and hits them. And then eventually it starts doing one up until you just literally get 99 lives. And then you play the game. And that's how my grandpop used to always start Mario for me. He would be like, do this, put this between these two blocks. It's going to hit them back and forth. And then you're going to literally get 99 or however many lives you want. He would then show me, because I would go through the game with my 99 lives. He would then literally go through the game and skip that part in front of me and just beat the whole game with
Mhm.
without doing that ever. And my grandpa, like when I say he's literally a master at Mario, in the third Mario game, there's a part where you do these little mini games where you have to match these cards. So it'd be like a flower, and you have to find another flower. There'd be like a shell, and all types of things, right? He had in his New York apartment, he had literally drawn every possible combination so that once you chose two, you would know exactly where everything else is. He committed it to memory, so he didn't even need his own guide. But for me, he had these sheets of paper that were like, if you click this flower and click over here, once you see that, you know exactly what the entire thing is. So you could do the game perfectly. So I would literally have a cheat sheet for the game.
Not
My
Fraser's
grandpa was
grandpa.
insane.
Fraser's grandpa making the first side deck guide.
Yes, yeah, literally the first side that guy came from my grandpa was absurd. It's so weird to me when I think about it. My grandpa was a gamer. He was very competitive, and I guess that's where I get it from because my dad is also a gamer and competitive. Like my dad plays Madden, and he plays a lot of other sports games. But my dad just plays like all types of sports, but he loves Madden. And it's so interesting to me how like that shit got blatantly passed into me. Like I am such a gamer and a competitive person from my dad and grandpa, but it started with my grandpa, which you wouldn't expect. Someone who fought in the Vietnam War, someone who was around before video games basically exist. He was around before video games existed actually. He loved video games. He played Atari. He played all the Marios. So and he loved Pac-Man. My grandpa's also absurd at Pac-Man. He literally can beat all of Pac-Man. He knows exactly what fruit. He gets the fruit. He clears every level perfectly. Like literally he gets every single little pellet, every fruit on every level. He knows every story that's coming up next. Like literally in between the chapters of playing Pac-Man, he would be like, and next is this scene. And then like, I'm sitting there watching him play through it and he's like making noises and shit. My grandpa's so weird, but so cool at the same time when I think about it.
Such an awesome memory.
Yeah.
Like I love that you have that memory because we have a lot of gamer friends, but not all of them have that memory. Like not everybody has like somebody older than them or a parent or whatever that they got to experience that with. Because like for me, it's Donkey Kong Country and my dad. Like my dad wasn't a heavy gamer as like my life went on. Like he didn't continue to play a bunch of video games, but when I was young, he played a lot of Super Nintendo. And because what's crazy to think is like at that time he was like 22 or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he played a bunch of Super Nintendo, and me and him played Donkey Kong Country all the time. And I have all of those memories like that you have with your grandpa, with my dad, and it's just like it's really cool. It's awesome to have those. I think for Ant, our friend Ant, like for him, I think he played Sonic the Hedgehog with his dad. Like him and his dad always played Sonic the Hedgehog, and it's just really cool. And I'm happy when people have those memories because not everybody has them, and it's just a cool thing to have.
It made it, I mean, for your parents to accept you being like into video games, and because I know a lot of parents think like, oh, video games can be bad for kids and stuff like that. But my dad and my grandpa were fully supportive of the fact that I loved games and that I was addicted to them to the point where like I wouldn't slouch on my schoolwork because I was a straight A student somehow still, but I would play games really late. And my dad would be like, all right, Frey, you got to cut the PlayStation off or you got to eventually cut the Sega off because I would play and then be tired the next day in class, but I would still get all A's and stuff like that. But my dad was like, as long as you get A's, I will not take away your games. If you stop performing well in school, I will take away your games. And so for me, the incentive was, well, if I do good in class, and this is basically like positive reinforcement. But if I do good in class, not only do I get to get new games, but I get to keep playing my games until pretty late at night where kids normally have to go to sleep or whatever. My dad will be like, you could play, but as long as if I hear about you sleeping in class, if I hear about like you getting like C's or something like that, then the fun has to come to an end. But as long as you continue what you're doing, I really can't say anything about it. And I think that kind of plays into how I am right now. I stay up really late every night and I work a full 40 hours a week job. Like I'm a full-time accountant and I somehow managed to go to sleep after midnight every single night. And I wake up around 6 a.m. every single day. So I get not a lot of sleep, honestly. And I consider myself to be like a highly functional person. Like if you know me, you know I'm pretty highly functional. Like I think the way I articulate and just all the things that I do, like now, especially creating all this content and stuff, I'm able to do all of that stuff by basically making sure that my days are very long. I wish I could just have consistent 20-hour days. And that kind of comes from me growing up, being able to play video games really late. That's kind of like my point here is that I don't think it was a bad thing that my parents allowed me to like stay up forever playing Mario and Tekken and all that stuff.
I think the positive reinforcements, it's usually really good. Like I know it didn't happen much because I wasn't a straight A student, but my dad had like a deal with me that every time I got an A, I think it was like if I got an A on a test, he would give me a 20 or something like that.
I would have bankrupted my family if they did that. Well,
that's the thing, right? I didn't get A's, so that's why he was able to do it.
I would have fucking. My parents knew that they waited till specifically report cards because that's like a once every quarter or whatever.
Yeah.
They knew that they could not do like a every time thing because they did try to do that at first when I was really young. I would get something every single time, and then it was like this motherfucker is like he's gonna get A's on everything. We can't gift him something every single time. Eventually, we got to be like, okay, it's expected of you.
Yeah, I didn't always get A's, but the point is that worked. Like when my dad started, incentivizing. Because anyway, when he started incentivizing like getting A's, I did more A's. I didn't become close to a straight A student, but it did definitely help.
Yes, it made you want to you're like, okay, I want a 20 for this reason, so I'm actually going to try. Is basically what happened. Because I know how you are. You're not dumb by any stretch of the imagination. Like you are what I consider a pretty intelligent person, but everyone is not necessarily a school straight A student. Like, and it doesn't make you any inferior or anything like that because you don't do testing great. Like everybody doesn't test well through the scholastic system. But the point is, like, I get what you're saying is that your dad still incentivized you with getting A's. Like, okay, if you get an A here, you'll get $20. And I know you like to save your money until you need it to do something specific. So I
would save it. I mean, we already talked about this on the podcast, but I would just not eat lunch. Like when my dad would give me money for lunch. Yeah. And I just would not eat lunch for weeks on end. That way I had enough money to buy Kingdom Hearts 2 or whatever other game I wanted. But specifically, I remember Kingdom Hearts 2 I bought with lunch money.
2006, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So you were like 15. Yeah. So that, man, I love this movie. All right. Where were we at?
It's incredible.
The next thing I want to talk about. Oh, go ahead. Did you want to say something?
We were at the wedding. Yeah, we were just at the wedding, and so just to say some of the things that were in the wedding. First of all, King Babam and King Boo were there, which is awesome. Other wedding guests were there. Peach walks up, and then when she kind of reveals, like, "Fuck no, I'm not actually marrying you," and then she pulls out the ice flower.
So I was going to say, is this real? I've never seen it.
Yeah, the ice flower is from, I believe, its first use was. I know for a fact it's in New Super Mario Bros. For the Wii.
Okay. Oh, so that's pretty late, yeah.
And it's in Super Mario Galaxy as well.
Okay, so it is relatively recent as far as it's not in the SNES or Nintendo 64 games.
No. I think to my knowledge, the ice flower's first use was in the Nintendo Wii.
Okay, and I was definitely not playing. I was definitely not playing Mario games at that time.
But yeah, that's its first use, and yeah, she fucking goes ham with it. Like she starts.
So apparently, I just Googled it really quick. The ice flower, the artwork of an ice flower from New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. First appearance, Super Mario Kun Volume 5, 1992. Whatever that is.
That's probably like a comic book or so. Because Volume 5, that's not a video game.
Yeah. Mario becomes Ice Mario, can throw out. Okay, yeah. So first appearance was Super Mario Kun Volume 5. Yeah, that's definitely some. I just clicked on it. Stylized as Super Mario Kun and Super Mario Maker is a Japanese published Mario manga series written by Yuko Sawada and published by some other house. The manga has been serialized monthly in Koro Koro Comics since 1990. So there was a visual of it, like artwork of it, but we never actually got to see it be used until, like you said. So pretty accurate there. That's dope. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
so
she gets the ice flower. She starts going ham.
Yeah, she starts going absolutely ham. She starts killing it with the ice flower. It's absurd.
I was like, what the hell is going on here? I didn't know that was a power, and why is she able to use it so efficiently? She froze Bowser instantly, which was like, I was like, okay, this is overpowered, and that's why it's like an end of the movie type of thing. She freezes him, then she freezes the lever that's lowering everybody into the lava, so she saves everybody, and she does a whole bunch of other shit. You actually see her when Mario and Donkey Kong are approaching the castle again, Bowser's castle. You see like blue sparks of energy at the top of it as she's fighting. Yeah. Like, we have to get up there. So they get up there or whatever, and they go to all fight. Bowser breaks out when he sees that Mario and Peach are having a good time together. He breaks out from the ice like Grimjaw Jagger Jacks, shoots out fire. He ends up, Peach gets caught off guard by a bomb. A bomb explodes. Actually, the King Bomb explodes.
King Bomb. I love when his fuse gets lit and he's like, oh shit.
Yeah, he doesn't know what to do, and then he just stops and lets it happen. He explodes and it catches Peach off guard, and she loses her ice powers because she was about to basically like solo everything. And so she loses her ice powers, and this is where Mario and Luigi and Donkey Kong come in. And it gets to a point where like Bowser gets the upper hand, and they get the actual star, like the scene I was talking about earlier where they said, together we can do anything, which is what Mario said to Luigi earlier on, like together nothing can stop us or whatever. And Luigi says it back as he saves his older brother from being toasted. So when they get the star, Koopa comes up and he literally tries to attack them and they don't even budge. Right. And this is what we're talking about with fight choreography. The music, yes.
Dude, they got the star music playing.
I like that no matter what touches them, it doesn't even affect them while they have the star, which is real.
Bro, we jumped a little bit ahead. The fucking when Mario gets the Tanuki suit.
Oh yes.
Mario is going absolute ham flying around with the Tanuki suit, just like with the tail going, and
he gets called the bear by Luigi. Like, what are you doing in this bear costume? Because a lot of people used to think that they didn't know it was supposed to be like a raccoon or based on a Tanuki. So some people called it a bear, some people called it a raccoon, some people knew it was just a Tanuki suit.
And he's just absolutely flying the fuck around. And then like he bullies the Bullet Bill and gets the Bullet Bill to chase him, and that's like caused a big explosion to send the Mushroom Kingdom to Brooklyn. Like that shit is wild.
Yeah, that whole part is actually really dope. I forgot about the big old Bill coming. You know, that thing kind of, once it gets a target, it doesn't stop chasing you forever. It'll try to get you no matter what. So after he smacks it in the eyeball, it gets really mad, and then it starts chasing him, and he takes it on a wild goose chase throughout. But eventually he sends it into a tunnel. It explodes in the tunnel, but that causes some kind of reality warping thing to happen where, like you said, the Mushroom Kingdom starts to kind of come together with reality, with Brooklyn, with Earth, I guess. And that's when they get the star and they start beating Bowser's ass. And again, that whole sequence of them just going ham on Bowser is really dope.
Yeah, I love that they did like a bros attack. If anybody's ever played, Mario has a ton of good games. It's in a bunch of genres. There's RPG Mario games, like, you know, take-turn RPG games that are absurdly good. Like in terms of RPG mechanics, like some of the best. And one of the is called Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. And then there's like various sequels. But in that, they have like a whole thing called bros attacks where Mario and Luigi do like these teamwork brother attacks. And when they both got the star, like they were on all fucking bullshit.
Yeah,
doing,
they were.
Like,
they did uppercuts and stuff. They both did their uppercuts from Smash Bros.
Yes, they were.
Luigi has the really crazy uppercut.
They were going absolutely in.
Another attack or something that Mario uses in his games, and this was really early on. I think this was featured when him and Donkey Kong got their power-ups. The butt slam. There was
he does the ground pound. He goes down and like.
I was so happy when I saw that. I was like, oh shit, that's really cool. Okay, so that's pretty much like the movie, right? I think that we captured everything.
One more reference. I mean, we didn't cover everything, but
yeah, it's not possible.
They grab Bowser's tail and they swing him. They do the so long, gay Bowser.
So long, gay Bowser.
So, you know, you gotta mention that.
Yeah, definitely have to mention that. And then there's a couple things else that we didn't touch on. So, and this ties into the post credit scene. There were Yoshis randomly when Toadstool was like, "We're best friends," and Mario was like, "I don't think we are." There was a quick part where you saw a herd of Yoshis running, and they were all different colors and shit. And I thought that was cool to see that, but they don't really reference it or anything like that as far as pointing it out. Like the characters don't point out like, what the hell are those? You just kind of see Yoshi, so you know that they're in the verse. But then one of the post credit scenes actually shows a Yoshi egg, and it is the Yoshi egg, of course.
My theater was fucking screaming when the Yoshi egg. Yeah, my theater was screaming when they showed the Yoshi egg, like losing their absolute fucking mind. I thought it was cool, like everything. I stayed for the credits because and the credits themselves were awesome too. Like the credits were just like really good credits. But yeah, everything about it was hype. I was so excited to watch it, and but I could not believe how fucking loud my theater got when the Yoshi egg. When like the Yoshi egg got revealed, like they were fucking loud.
Yeah, I went into this movie with only one pseudo expectation. It wasn't real, but I was hoping to God that it would happen. And I told this to Silverman and all the people I went with. I said, how cool would it be? Because I already knew that there were 2 post-credit scenes because I Googled that part. I just like to know if I'm wasting my time waiting on the credits at movies. Because I would like to just leave if I can, but Marvel has made it where you always have to check if there's post-credit scenes. So I found out that there were 2 post-credit scenes, didn't know what they were, but I told Silverman, I said, how cool would it be if one of the post-credit scenes is Mario gets a letter? Because my biggest hope for this entire franchise and for all these other movies is that there is a Super Smash Bros. Cinematic universe being created. We have Detective Pikachu, we have the Sonic movies, which actually look very similar to this. You have all of the fucking characters in this movie, which this is like a huge chunk of the cast of the original Smash Bros. Game. And also if if they go up the melee, like it's so many of the melee characters or whatever. So I was really hoping, and again it's copium, but like I still was hoping for it, that Mario would get a letter and everybody who knows.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about eruption? I could just imagine the confirmation of a Super Smash Bros. Game. Now, granted, I do think that a Smash Bros. Game will happen eventually, but maybe not yet. Like maybe there's still more development because
There's still more that has to happen.
They're
I
testing
hope
the
so,
waters.
man. Like I think, and it would have to be. So this movie was exactly everything it needed to be, and it was such a good family movie and very fun. That said, I really would fucking do anything for a Legend of Zelda movie, and I understand, or TV series, and I understand that that's hard. But the point that I'm getting to is that like it would have to take itself quite a bit more seriously in order to like come through, because Legend of Zelda is not really something you can be super kooky. It has a lot of kooky, goofy characters, but anyway, I was watching this and part of me was like, they could do it. I believe in them. Like, they can do it. Like, whereas before I would never think it's possible, but I was like, they could do it. I think they can do it.
The only thing that always gets me about a Zelda movie is Link speaking. Because Mario, I'm not really used to Mario speaking too much either, outside of little catchphrases like "Mamma Mia" and stuff like that. Yeah. So him talking in full coherent sentences throughout this movie, I was fine with it, and it actually just worked, right?
Yeah.
Link, on the other hand, I'm just trying to imagine.
Link's tough. It makes it definitely makes it hard. He doesn't really he doesn't speak so that the player can hear, right? Like, yeah. So it's tough.
But that doesn't mean that he can't have a voice. That doesn't mean that he can't be animated or whatever. It's just that it's going to be interesting, and the right choice has to be made. And I think the right choice could be made, and for the greater good. Because once a Zelda movie comes out, I fully believe in the Smash Cinematic Universe theory, like that, because that will just be, because then at that point do Metroid, right? Do a Star Fox movie, and I think these would be great movies, by the way.
They would be amazing. Just a Star Fox movie would be absurd.
A Kirby
and
movie,
Metroid, like, oh my god,
bro, a Kirby movie would go crazy. Like the kids will love that shit.
And it would do, I think all of these movies would do really well. But Kirby would do insane numbers because he's just so cute and popular. Like, people just fucking love Kirby.
Kids love the minions.
I think many polls have been done on the most played characters in Smash. And I think every time Link and Kirby are number 1 and 2. And they swap. But every time I think they do a poll on the general populace most played characters of Smash, it's usually Link and Kirby. Like, they're just so absurdly popular.
I'm not surprised. I mean, I like both of those characters. I don't play them necessarily, but I love them. And I would love if they all got movies so that my Smash Bros. Fantasy can be true. That's the one thing that I really, really wanted. And I was like, it's too soon. But when I saw Diddy Kong, I was like, oh, there could definitely be a Smash Bros. Movie now. There's a Sonic movie. There's Detective Pikachu and a bunch of other Pokemon are obviously in that. They could do it. They could fully pull it off. And now that they know, you said that it broke all these records and shit. Now that they know that like this is a profitable thing too, the audience is there. Build it and we will come.
Think about how big Frozen was. The first Frozen movie, it was fucking-normous. And how ginormous it was led to Frozen 2 having a humongous opening.
Yes.
As far as I know, the biggest opening for an animated movie of all time. And the Super Mario movie, as of its first weekend, surpassed Frozen 2. So.
Yeah, that's insane. That is actually just fucking insane. So I'm really happy that it's doing so well. The Super Mario Bros. Movie scores record-breaking $204 million debut at domestic box office. So, I mean, it's right there. It's just right there. $204 million, record-breaking, it says.
It's doing very well. People are very much loving it. And something I saw before the movie came out is the critic score. I don't remember how I ended up seeing this. I think it just popped up on my feed. But like, critics gave it before it came out. Critics gave it like a fucking 30,
yeah,
or like a 40. And as soon as I saw that, as soon as I saw that, I was like, this movie's going to be great. Because like I just hate. I think the critics are so. I don't know what the criteria is to get into that job profession, but I think
the audience score is a 96.
Yeah. How are the critics so wrong so often? I don't know. I don't understand why. I don't know what the criteria is for that job.
What are they critiquing though?
Yeah, like I don't like. How is the movie a fucking 30 or a 40? Like,
it's a fucking children's movie, bro. I actually don't understand. I'm genuinely trying to understand like what made them hate it so much, because I feel like if you only want Martin Scorsese and like Quentin Tarantino level movies, and that's what you're used to critiquing, you should not be allowed to critique the Mario movie.
Yeah, it's absurd. Like it's just
For
just
you.
absurd.
It's just
Yeah.
not for you. You're looking at it through the lens of like, this isn't The Departed. This isn't The Godfather, which is asinine to even do that. But
And
like,
here's the thing, though, right? Here's the fucking thing. Everything has to be judged on more than one point, right? There's a point, like when you look at a girl or a guy that you like, right? Maybe this girl is a 10 out of 10 in terms of attractiveness or guy, but their personality sucks.
Yep.
You can't talk to them, right? Everything has different values. So the point is, this movie may not be Martin Scorsese or whatever, right? But I'll tell you what, it's a lot more fun. Like it's more fun than those movies. Like those movies are amazing movies and they're incredible and they're gripping and all that other stuff. But if you want just sheer fun and lightheartedness and enjoyability and just like watchability, like this movie has all of that like over those movies. How come that doesn't get valued as highly? I don't know. It's fucking bullshit to me.
Yep, I agree. 56 is what I'm seeing here on Rotten Tomatoes from the critics. I just think that score is completely undeserved. And a 96.
I think initially it had like a 40. I think maybe they started taking some heat. They're trying to raise their scores.
Yeah, that's corny though. A 56 and then an audience says 96. You just know, like this wasn't made. The people who went to see this movie wanted to see this movie and they enjoyed it. So everybody who saw the movie basically enjoyed it because there's 5,000 plus reviews for audience and only 204 for critics. So the 204 critics can fuck off, or half of them, I should say.
They can big fuck off. I just don't get. I would just love to. I want to like sit in a room with like 5 esteemed critics and just talk to them. I want to figure out what goes like. How does their brain cock? Like, what is the actual numbers in their head that when they watch a movie and they fucking twirl their mustache? Like, this shot here was a Dutch angle, and like, what are they talking about? What's going on in their heads?
Right. Yeah, I'm not here for it, but I'm glad that we enjoyed it. I'm glad that on this podcast, the people listening, I know a lot of people on our Discord server, they went to see this movie and they enjoyed it. So
you guys saw, I absolutely, I posted in every Discord, well, not every Discord I'm in, but the Discords that like I'm a major part of, I posted like, I just saw the Mario movie. It was fucking awesome. Like I posted that right away in IMNerd. I posted it in Critical Hit Plus because I adored the movie. And then my man Frazier was like, I'm about to go see it right now. Like I'm gearing up to go see it. And you were talking about the Blue Beetle trailer. That shit was all. By the way, did you see? I don't know if you looked away. Did you see the Spider-Man trailer?
I did. That shit looked good though.
It looked good, but so when I was getting screwed by the concession stand, right? Connie saw the trailers and she was like, "Hey, like I saw the Spider-Man trailer you were talking about with Frazier, and I agree. Holy fuck, that trailer is spoilery as hell. Like it just shows way too much. The movie looks like it's going to be amazing. It looks great, but man, does that trailer go ham and just show so much?"
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. I remember thinking this looks really good. I don't remember the specifics of what I saw though.
Awesome.
Because my attention span with trailers is just like really low. But I did blatantly stare at the screen the entire time it was on. And it started off with just like a conversation with Miles and his mom and all that. And then it got like crazy.
Yeah.
But like, I cannot remember specifics. And by the time it comes out, hopefully I'll just have forgotten a lot of it. And then maybe as I'm seeing a scene, I'll be like, oh yeah, this was in the trailer. It'll be fine. But like, yeah, trailers suck in general. We talk about that all the time on this podcast.
The Blue Beetle trailer was hype though.
It was.
Blue Beetle, get me hype.
The way he manifested that sword and then he did that little like thing, like come into this zone and I'll cut you up or whatever. I love stuff like that. Like the 8 trigrams. Yeah, that was really cool. All right. Well, I guess it's time to wrap this up. So I want to give a shout out to the people on our Patreon as always. Thank you guys for supporting us. There are 52 of you right now. And I look forward to, releasing more content on Patreon. We are currently about to catch up the Patreon with a bunch of the video versions of the podcast. So Kenny did a huge upload.
Yeah, I have like, I was super behind just because of life stuff, but I yesterday did a gigantic catch up uploading all of the Patreon. They're not on the Patreon yet, but they're all uploaded, ready to be posted and go live. So in the very near future, very, very near, you're going to get pinged out of your gourd on Patreon, but it's going to be fully caught up. And I almost I upload like 5 more videos and then it'll be ready to go.
Yep. Okay, so without further ado, let's give a shout out to Connie, Austin, Leon. Rogue and Tier 2 aren't bad, they just aren't great. Garen Williams, Xavier Swift, Hylian, Dimitri Barnes, Vinny Casello, Dominique Roberts, Giovanni Avalos, Alex Flamer, Henry Reynolds, CJ, Dubk Dad 1, Dan Vrabel, First to Home, Delos Fernandez, S. Akuma, Mitchell Niles, Midwest Gaming, William Shapiro, Demetrius Superiors, Vince Marquette, Dallas Bailey, Roz Weiss, Nick Stango, Hanto, our 2-time national champion, Vincent Zen, Sarah Maria, Sunny Top Cut Podcast, Alex Ahern, Philip Campa, Arale Melfi Slump, Chris Lynn, Wookie159, Connor LK, MSW2389, Edison Club, Kyle Batelho, Brandon Moore, Sugal, Nick, Mr. Soultide, Nafa, Corey Fowler, Omar Ramos, Elijah Barfoth. And then we have
True Hero, Tyler Tadeo, Anthony, Matt Glenny, Rogue, and Tier 2 are the polite terms for bad deck.
right,
And yeah, I don't know. And also, I don't have it here, but I'm assuming he's still there. Majora, I think he's still there, but I don't have it on this list I'm looking at.
Yeah. The list is it's kind of hard to sort it all, but there's over 50 people, so it's just like whatever. Also, because it's like close to the beginning of the month, a lot of people are getting charged for this month and all that stuff, so it'll fluctuate. But again, thank you guys for the support. We really appreciate it, and I really, really hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we loved talking about the Mario movie, because it was actually amazing, and it's something that I actually like.
I'm going to be seeing it again as soon as I get access to see it again. Like, I'm not going to go to the theaters again because that shit is expensive, but
it's way too expensive.
As soon as I can get my hand, I think I'm going to buy, and I haven't done this in fucking 2 decades. I think I'm going to buy the Blu-ray because I think I just want it to like have it.
That's not a bad idea. Yeah, because it's like a collector thing.
Yeah, like I think I just wanted to have it. So I'm probably going to buy the Blu-ray for this. As soon as I can see this again, I will see this again. I can't wait to watch this movie again. And I just want to, oh my God, Jack Black goes so ham.
Jack Black was amazing.
It's absurd.
Anyways, I hope you guys, like I said, enjoyed everything. And we will catch you in the next one. As I always say, do the things that make you happy, including singing your heart out about peaches.
So long, Gay Bowser.
So long.